What's up, y'all? It's your boy Daily, and welcome back to another Sqee Squad video. Damn, it feels great to say. And honestly, isn't that what we all strive to be? Great? Kinda like... Oh god, that's the wrong clip. Much better. Throughout gaming history, we've had our good, bad, really bad, oh dear god, please leave, and please never let me remember this game again. Now, it's easy to categorize games into these sections without too much controversy. That is, of course, until we enter the realm of gaming greatness. See, when it comes to great games, they're in kind of a tight spot. We have good, great, and amazing. To me, a good game is a game that either hits or is close to hitting its worth and its price tag. In other words, if the majority of players who bought the game at full price decide that, hey, this was worth the $60, then you probably have a good game on your hands. An amazing game, on the other hand, is one that can be categorized in a must-play or greatest of all time. These games typically have minimal flaws or have little things that bothered players on a person-by-person basis. The best example I can provide is Batman Arkham Knight. A lot of players took issue with how much the game relied on the Batmobile and how the Batmobile felt more like a tank than a Batmobile. But on the flip side, tons of other players loved driving around in it. It made Gotham feel more immersed and it made you really feel like you were Batman.
Arkham Asylum makes you feel like you're Batman.
But that little hiccup doesn't matter. The Arkham series is the best collection of superhero games of all time, and arguably one of the best beat-em-ups. And finally, the topic for today's video, and the category that I deem the hardest to get into, is the great category. According to Webster's dictionary, probably, a great game is a game that is well worth above its price tag, but is just short of being amazing due to a couple flaws. Now, this list is going to be based off of one thing and one thing only: community consensus. Now, the reason I'm going purely off of community consensus is because they are the people who paid for the game. If you have one or two people that think a game is great, but the mass majority don't, the one or two people didn't make most of the money for the game, it was the community as a whole. So their word has the largest impact. The scoring system I've decided to use is going to break each game down into 4 different categories. So you may be asking yourself, what are these 4 categories? Well, if you... Shut up, bitch! I'll tell you. The categories are as follows: gameplay, replayability, in-game content, and variety. So the reason I chose to do it this way is because some games have elements that other games don't really need. For example, God of War doesn't have a multiplayer, and nor does it need one, just as Mario Kart doesn't have a storyline, and nor does it need it. So it would be unfair to judge both of these amazing games on things that they don't have and definitely don't need. But a great game does need really solid gameplay. It needs a reason to come replay it again. It needs a lot of in-game content, and it needs to have some variety to change things up so it doesn't just get dull and mundane. So, now I'll shut up and we can get started. Most early LEGO games could have honestly made this list, but personally, I believe that the first LEGO Star Wars game, up to the original trilogy, are really something special. When it comes to in-game content, these games have that in spades. 59 playable characters in the first game, 114 in the original trilogy, and finally, a crazy 160 playable characters with the ability to customize your own. In the first LEGO Star Wars game, and the original trilogy, there were 3 movies you would play through. Each movie would have 5 levels, so you played a total of 15 levels, not including bonus stages. In the complete saga, however, they added more content, so you actually went up playing through a total of 36 levels, with the addition of bonus levels. LEGO also tends to hide a lot of little challenges that could help you unlock new characters, as well as find little secret bonus areas in certain stages. And that adds a massive amount of replayability, because on the first time around, you might not see things that you find on your second, third, maybe even 4th playthrough. Granted, I do understand that having to replay an entire level with another character just for one section could get annoying, especially for a character that may not even be all that fun to play as. But even the things that seem little aren't really little. For example, the mini kits could be used to not only build the ships for the trophy room, but you could actually use those ships that you build to play with in all the ship levels. And replaying the levels also allows the player to have fun and get creative. I remember my favorite thing to do as a kid in these games was to replay the Mustafar fight, but instead of having Obi-Wan fight Anakin, I would make Anakin fight Vader, to almost symbolize Anakin fighting his inner demons and almost seeing if he could redeem himself to go back to the good side. Just that little bit of freedom blew my mind. It opened the floodgates to play the same game in entirely different ways. I'll give it, these games kind of give me a sense of deja vu while I'm playing. Mainly because I've seen the movies 100 times, so it starts to feel kind of samey, and then not to mention the fact that LEGO always tends to follow formula when making their levels. And there might be over 100 characters playable in this game, but they're only split into 6 different categories, and 2 of them aren't really playable. being the droids and the shorter characters because they have no combat abilities. And bounty hunters and Sith aren't normally accessible until the end of the game. Not to mention Sith are just Jedi that can move those silver blocks. But with how much these games bring to the table, it makes those issues that would ruin other games feel like small issues. And that's mainly due to the fact that these characters have so much star power that you don't care that they don't do much or that they feel similar. You're just happy to do that cool spin move that Palpatine does in the movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's really funny to me that in the year 2017, Sega somehow gave us Sonic's best and worst game in franchise history. There's gotta be an award for that somewhere. I really love Sonic Mania. Honestly, it brings gaming back to a much simpler time. No 5-minute cutscenes, no super long loading screens that broke immersion, no fancy gameplay mechanics, just an amazing, simple side-scroller packed with tons of fun and nostalgia. And the game looks beautiful. It's so bright and colorful, it just screams fun. Being the 25th anniversary of Sonic, Sega decided to release Sonic Mania as a 16-bit game to pay homage to Sonic's first set of games on the Genesis. Yet it somehow kept up with, and in some cases even outshined, other games in 2017. And in case y'all forgot, 2017's lineup was pretty stacked. Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, XCOM 2, Okami HD, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Persona 5, Destiny 2. Keeping up with any of these games in the year 2017 as a 16-bit side-scroller, that's pretty phenomenal. I'll give it, Sonic's name does carry some star power, but at the same time, is Sonic's reputation really good enough to actually compete like this? A 16-bit game being able to keep up with any of these games in the looks department is impressive no matter how you spin it. And the levels don't just look great, but they are great. From Green Hill Zone to the Egg Zone, it's nothing but perfection. There are multiple different routes to get you from point A to point B on all the Sonic levels, making each time you play a level different. Not to mention the fact that each level has secret bonus levels hidden inside of it. Honestly, the only downside to Sonic Mania is the fact that it's a side-scroller in the year 2017. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about a good old-fashioned 2D side-scroller. They could be a lot of fun and are always worth a look at. But because of how far gaming has come, it can be hard to go back to them, especially if you're not really into the retro thing. Now, because of all this, it can make Sonic Mania feel dated at times, especially with the simplistic gameplay. But what really saves the gameplay aspect for me is the fact that the gameplay mechanics are extremely intuitive. See, back in the 80s and 90s, due to hardware limitations, memory space was a huge factor as to why games were so small and why they would add little hints of bullcrap everywhere for you to die on. This way, you couldn't just beat the game in 20 minutes and then feel like you spent all your money on something that wasn't worth your time. But oh no, not in Sonic Mania. Due to technological advances, they didn't have to trick you into spending your money. You could spend it and actually enjoy the game! So thanks to Sonic Mania being in the modern era, playing around on all these fancy levels with all these different pathways and hidden areas just feels amazing. Not to mention too, the boss battles are so innovative and creative. There are some bosses in this game that pay homage to gaming as a whole, not just Sonic. And it starts to make Sonic Mania feel not just like a love letter to Sonic, but all of retro gaming. And all of this just brings much needed variety to a fairly simplistic genre. Well, I guess there's worse hills I could choose to die on. Euro Truck Simulator 2 is, well, a European truck simulator. Somehow, someway, every person who plays this game gets instantly hooked. In the game, you start off by buying your first truck, with a loan that you'll have to pay off by transporting cargo all around Europe. You can then keep doing deliveries and buying more trucks and building space for you to grow your business. It's just like the American dream, but in Europe. How you get your cargo from point A to point B is all on you. So you can choose if you want to take a highway, back road, sidewalk. There are a lot of different trucks to choose from. I'll admit, they are still trucks, but hey, they're different. And obviously, driving around Europe, there are tons of different sights that you could see. You'd think the game would be boring at times, since some deliveries can take literal real-life hours to complete, but honestly, no. It's oddly relaxing. You can throw on music or a podcast. Heck, you can even practice your distracted driving. No matter how hard I try, I can't put this game down. It's just so addicting. Euro Truck can get repetitive, but after putting the game down for about a month, I always get that itch to go back. People may not think it at first, but this game is packed with content. Besides the different trucks, transfer facilities, and shipping routes, you also get all of this! Euro Truck goes on sale all the time. I highly recommend picking it up. Heck, it's worth the full price tag if you're that interested. And if you get it on Steam, people mod the heck out of this game. Thanks for tuning into this week's Sqee Squad video. I had a lot of fun making this video, and hopefully y'all had just as much fun watching. Now, obviously, I couldn't touch on every great game that's out there because there's so many, but hopefully you guys will tell me which ones I missed down below in the comments. I love talking about this kind of stuff, and gaming is a true passion of mine. So anytime I get to talk about it with somebody, I get happy. So make sure you guys like and sub if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.